Hello and welcome to My Reality Jeep Life with me, the Vermont Jeep Girl, and this is my daily vlog of 2013. Yes, me and Lola are still on tour, and you're probably wondering why we're here at the cemetery. Well, I figured it was only fitting that I do this segment, this vlog, at the cemetery. That's why. So, in this box here, I have some items that I'd like to talk about. As you know, I do a lot of video, I do a lot of photos. I record and I document everything that I do when it comes to my Jeep. That's all part of My Reality Jeep Life. But how do I get to that point? How do I do that? I remember when I was 16, I got my first camera. It was a Pentax K1000, a 35mm camera. I mean, I had a camera that was, for the time, was high technology and the envy of the street, if you say. I took photos of everything. I saved my allowance and I saved my babysitting money when I was 16, and I bought myself a telephoto lens. I used that to take photos, and I just love that camera, and I still have that camera. I believe it's up in the attic now. As you know, 35mm film is a little hard to come by, and I can remember getting all these rolls of film and taking them to the store and getting them processed, and it always took like a week. And then they changed it over later on that it was like one day and you'd have them the next day. That was great. That was awesome. And then I remember digital cameras came out, and I was a little skeptical and wasn't really sure. I was still learning the computer and wasn't totally, knew what I was doing. But I remember when I purchased my first digital camera, and that would be this guy. This was an HP 507, very plasticky, very, very generic. This was my first digital camera. I took a lot of photos with it. When I first put them up on the computer, I was so impressed by what I was seeing, because this was a whole new world for me. I went out and I bought the printer so that I could actually print my pictures right when I had them in my hand. Whoa, that was fun. And that's when the photos came every minute, every day, all the time. However, this little poor guy here finally wouldn't work anymore. It is so filthy. The lens won't go back in. I've tried everything. That was my first guy. Then went out and bought this guy, and this one is just a cheap one anyway. I don't even know what the heck this one is. Doesn't even have a name. Needless to say, this one did not last very long. Then I went out and I purchased my first Nikon Coolpix. This is the L24. This camera was tough for its day. I mean, this is an older camera, but this camera was part of my early videos that I've done on YouTube, was filmed with this camera. Very easy to use. I love the way the photos came out. It was a good camera. But being on the road and doing dusty, dirty things, it too bit the dust. So since I like that one so much, I figured I'd buy another one. Hey, these cameras were under 80 bucks, so even if they lasted for a year, I was happy, This one, however, this one didn't fare very well. I don't know if you can see, this one's in really sad shape. The case is broken. This one I had, and you can see it's mud. My friend was driving my Jeep, my friend Lisa, and I was taking some photos, and of course I didn't have the little strap thing around my hand, and it fell out of the Jeep and fell into the rut, and before I could yell stop, she ran it over. I pulled it out of the mud, I scraped some of the mud off, and it did work for about another week. Even with the crack in the case and the thing not being able to close, it worked. And lo and behold, it died too. Again, keeping with that Nikon Coolpix theme, I went out and got another one. Like I said, I think I got One of these cameras here I got for 69 bucks. It's some special or something. Okay, this one doesn't say how many megapixels, but this is the L20. Again, I knew how to use all the settings. I loved it. Took a million photos, a million videos. I think the dust and dirt ended up eating this one. So, what can I say? I went to the next generation Nikon Coolpix. This is my latest camera I had. This is one of my newer cameras, which just died the other day. Yeah, this one, when I purchased it, I wasn't too happy about the change that they made in the bottom lid. This little metal thing I thought would be the first thing to break, but it hasn't been. There's something wrong with the sensor, and it's not doing anything anymore. So, sad to say, that one's dead. Now, at some point over the years, I did purchase a Sanyo, one of the earlier versions of the Sanyos that were crush-proof, dust-proof, waterproof, the whole 9 yards. I do not know where that ended up. It was blue. I think my son took it on a trip and never brought it back. I did not like it because you had to charge it, and for some reason it would only last about 5-10 minutes and it would just die. And, you know, it was useless to me, so I didn't use it. So at one point, K-Man went out to Montana for work, and he was out there and it was so gorgeous out there, he wanted to take some photos. So he stopped off at the store to pick up a camera. And the woman behind the desk said, you know, I do have a camera for you. It's about $49, but you're not really going to like the color of it. And K-Man, being the frugal shopper that he is, said, you know what? I don't have a problem with that. Give it to me. Okay. This is what K-Man came home with. That's right. Some pretty little pink camera. Now this is a Sanyo, 10 megapixels, a cheaper camera, wasn't very expensive. This little ditty, I don't think lasted 2 months. K-Man goes out to Montana on a trip, comes back with this pretty little pink camera, and yeah, I guess we're not going there. Okay, lo and behold, at some point in between all these cameras, I wanted to get a better camera. And I did. I had gotten a professional DSLR, a Pentax K100, I believe it was called. It had the wide angle lens, the zoom lens, everything. Back in the mid-90s, I was doing photography for postcards, and I love the camera. The camera was great. I was out on one of these back roads, and I was taking some photos, and there was a light little snow coming down. Well, I opened the camera to change my lens, and one itty-bitty snowflake landed on the sensor and blew out my camera. There was nothing I could do. I have so wanted to get another body for it. It's just that they're too expensive. And for the kind of off-roading and extremes that I'm putting my cameras through, I didn't want to pay the money for it. So I ended up buying this camera. This is also a Nikon Coolpix. This is the LA10. Lost the lens cap, I think the first time out, off-roading. It's an okay camera. It's not one that's good for going off-roading because, again, it has the retractable lens that you can zoom in and out. I think this is the worst type for off-roading because the dust and dirt gets in there. And no matter how I set these settings, for some reason the photos are always washed out. You can never see any color in them. And I'm not really sure why. So this is the camera that I'm using right now. Not one of my favorites, but at least it's a working camera. Like I say, it's not good for off-roading. I also have my little LG phone. This is my little track phone. I pay as I go. Again, I've dropped it in the mud, dropped it in the dirt, you name it. It takes photos. It just doesn't have a flash, and it's minimal on its settings, so it's It's also not that good. It's good for quick things if it's really bright and sunny, but you know. And last but not least, you all know it, it's the GoPro, the hero. I bought this camera with such high hopes. I have used this camera quite a bit, and I can honestly say I have yet to find any footage that I can actually use. I don't know what is its problem. I have even had somebody look at it that knows how to use the GoPro, and you set it to record, the little light's blinking, it's on, it's recording, the numbers are going. Really disappointed because this was $200 right here that I bought last fall, and I have not gotten any footage out of this camera that is useful for me. I thankfully have my Samsung video recorder that you guys are seeing me through that my boys got me for Christmas this year. I posted up on my Facebook page what type of cameras that you guys use on the trail. And I do like the new generations of the Pentax makes one, Sony makes one, Nikon makes a really nice one I like. And they're the crush proof, waterproof, dust proof, and shock proof. And what I like about them is they don't have the lenses that come in and out. It's actually all enclosed. I'm saving my money up, and I'm going to be trying to get one of those. And I'm hoping that the photos and everything will come out nice and crisp and clear. Because right now, I'm really down a camera, so my photos are kind of lacking right now. But, like I said, I do what I can. Time for these guys to go to their final resting place. Oh, I wanted to fill you guys in on some really great news. CSEoffroad.com has come up with a special code for me. So if you're out there and you guys want to order Jeep parts and Jeep accessories, go to CSEoffroad.com, check out their website, place an order, and when you get to the end of your checkout, in the promotion code, put in Jeep Girl, JEEP GIRL, Jeep Girl, for me, and you will get 5% off your order. This is awesome, and I'm glad Jean did it, and I want to share that with all my friends out there.